It was part of a massive battle. South Carolina Governor Mark Sanford took it all the way to the Supreme Court, I should add. He didn't want $700 million in federal stimulus money. But now, by order of the state Supreme Court, he now must request it and, of course, use it. Governor Sanford joins us now. He's the man who didn't want $700 million because he knows the strings attached. He's in Charleston, South Carolina. Governor, the court's making you take this money. Are you going to?
Yeah, we signed the paperwork yesterday. The court decision came down last week. We said we would honor whatever the Supreme Court decided. And I believe in balance of power. I believe in, what the Founding Fathers intended in terms of breaking up power amongst different branches, even if it's not configured that way in South Carolina. And so we said whatever the Supreme Court decides, we will live by that decision. They decided we had to do it, and so we signed the paperwork yesterday and sent it in.
So let me get your mindset.
I sent a letter. The letter I sent to Arnie Duncan, the Secretary of Education, was filled with why I think this is a fundamentally flawed decision and one that will come to really haunt South Carolinians young and old in the future.
Why would it haunt? Because it's $700 million. It's not a loan. You don't have to pay it back. And South Carolina has needs. What do you mean it'll haunt you?
It'll haunt us at a couple of different levels. One, the giant stimulus debacle coming out of Washington, D.C., I think will have haunting ramifications for all of us because we're on the hook. 50 cents of every dollar being spent in Washington this year is borrowed money, and we are digging ourselves one heck of a hole at the federal level. And what basically this stimulus money did was to export that financial recklessness to South Carolina, because in spending all this money, we will end up about $1 billion in the hole in just 24 months. And so the question is, and then what? And nobody seems to have a plan for and then what part. So it's a real problem from the standpoint of financial recklessness. It's also a problem from the standpoint of reforms not made. What's going to happen in South Carolina is a lot of reforms of taking money out of inefficient and wasteful programs and putting that money into teachers or into the front line of education in the classroom. Instead of that happening, we're just going to paper over it with this huge windfall of federal money, and I think, again, we'll be the poorer over the long run for it.
So we should be, and people of South Carolina and other states taking this money should be tightening their belts. Instead, we don't feel the pinch. We keep things going, but we're living alive because it's money we don't have. It's deficit spending. Governor, what type of hit has your popularity taken? Because a lot of people say, hey, Governor, we need the money. Let us have it.
I'm sure it's taken some degree of current hit. That goes with the terror. I mean, anytime you put $700 million in the middle of the table in the world of politics, the conventional wisdom is grab as much as you can, pull as much as you can to your corner, and ask questions later. But again, there are serious strings attached in this case. And so a lot of reforms that would have made our state more competitive in producing jobs and providing better education over the long run aren't going to happen because, again, we are allowing ourselves to paper over those inefficiencies with this federal money.
120 days ago, we were told we got to have a stimulus package by the White House because this country was going to hit a wall, a mountain, side of a mountain. Now we gave the money there, and only $44 billion of the $770 billion has been spent. Does it surprise you? Why aren't we spending it? Spending should be easy.
It is, but not in the way that, again, government works. Government was to work by its very design very, very slowly. And so a lot of the promises that were made up front by the Obama administration and by different proponents of the stimulus money were false promises from the very start. They were false from the standpoint of how quickly the money would get out there. And they're frankly also false from the standpoint of the jobs created. Already, just yesterday, the Obama administration was backtracking on basically the number of jobs that were produced versus the number of jobs that were promised. You're going to see a lot of backtracking, I think, as we go down the road on this thing in what will not be delivered on the false promise that's really tied to the stimulus promise overall.
Well, Governor, you stuck to your guns. The court overruled you, but you never slipped on your principles. Governor Mark Sanford of South Carolina, thanks for joining us, and good luck spending your millions.
Yeah, thanks. We appreciate it.
I hope it goes to the right place. All right, straight ahead.